Andy Katz here for NCAA.com and March Madness with the latest edition of Katz Ranks, my top 10 of the week. And this week here in March Madness 365, I'm doing the top 10 home courts this season. Now, this was very difficult to put this list together because, in theory, if I'm doing a top 10 home courts across the country, without question, for example, I have Purdue's Mackey Arena. Didn't make the cut because they've lost some home games this season. There were some schools that I didn't put on this list that have had very good home courts. Northern Iowa still hasn't lost. Liberty, Siena. Creighton just has one loss to Villanova at home. San Diego State just has the one loss over the weekend to UNLV. I don't have Duke because Duke has already lost twice at Cameron Indoor Stadium. I know I'm going to hear about that. And I didn't put Florida State on this list, even though the Seminoles are undefeated. It just has not been an intimidating home court. The team's obviously very good because they're one of the best teams in the ACC. So, let's get to my top 10. At number 10, Rutgers. The Rack, 17-1 this season. Now, Rutgers is barely holding on to this top 10 because they lost at home to Michigan. Prior to that, Northwestern gave them a really good game. So they got one loss, but still, it has been one of the tougher home courts in the country. At number 9, I'm going with BYU. The Cougars have one loss at home this season. That was early in the season to San Diego State. And if you watched what BYU did to Gonzaga at home on senior night in Provo, wow, what an atmosphere at the Marriott Center. If they can get that on a regular basis next season when they're back at the Marriott Center, forget it. I mean, it's a senior-laden team, but still, I've been to that arena when it's packed like that. It is a phenomenal home court. At number 8, I'm going with the Baylor Bears. Now, Baylor only has one loss at home. That was to Kansas over the weekend. But Waco traditionally has not felt like a dominant home court. Team's pretty good. So they got to be on this top 10 list this season. But I put them in at number 8. At number 7, I'm actually putting a school that has not lost at home yet, but they've been playing with fire here because they've almost lost a couple times, and that's the Oregon Ducks. 14-0 at home. They've had to go down to the wire multiple times to win games, and they have, but they're checking in at number 7, even though they're undefeated at this juncture. That means there's a couple of one-loss home teams that I've moved up on this list. At number 6, I'm going with the Dayton Flyers. Dayton, 15-0 at home, dominating the A-10, handled Rhode Island, so doesn't matter who comes into that arena, Dayton has beaten them. At number 5, another team that has not lost at home, great home environment, but boy, they have almost lost at home multiple times. Auburn. So the Auburn Tigers and Bruce Pearl have created a great home atmosphere down in Auburn, Alabama to crack my top 5, still undefeated at home. This season, at number 4, I'm putting the Maryland Terrapins. Maryland, undefeated at home, the only remaining school left in the Big Ten undefeated at home, has almost lost at home to Nebraska, still undefeated. So Maryland checks in this season with the 4th toughest home court, best atmosphere. Now number 3. At number 3, this is tough. I'm going to go with Kentucky. Rupp Arena, only one loss this season, but it was a bad loss. It was early in the season in Evansville. Since then, they've been a dominant home court team, certainly in the SEC. They do have that one loss, so I can't put them number 1. At number 2, in any other given year, you might say they should be number 1. I think it's one of the best arenas in all of sports. Fog Allen, Kansas. Kansas does have a home loss to Baylor in January. So I can't put them number 1 because they've lost at home. So who gets that number 1 spot? Toughest home court, maybe in the country this season. A place I've been to already, multiple times in the past, but certainly this season. The Kennel, Gonzaga. The Zags have a absolutely incredible home court. They have dominated teams in Spokane. They've crushed teams that are very good this year in the WCC at home. And as they finish up their home slate, especially with St. Mary's coming in, you will see that atmosphere. It is almost impossible when Gonzaga is playing this well to beat them at the Kennel. So this season, I got Gonzaga at #1 for the toughest home court in the country.